first material is this glass palette. Photo we'll be using is this image of Malcolm X. Plate or our piece of plexi called wiping sheets or tarlatan. Some scotch tape. This is a dry point etching needle. This is block printing paper. This is this piece of black fabric. I'm using a black t-shirt. A roll of paper towels. This is a speedball brayer. We use that to roll out our ink. This is a spatula or a paint scraper. We have vegetable oil and simple green for cleanup. For ink, we'll be using a Kua ink, soy oil-based block printing ink. For printing, we're going to use a handheld printing press. And then lastly, we have a phone book. We use it for wiping the plate as well as the cleanup at the end of our print. And with our scotch tape, we're going to create a hinge on the back of the paper. Have the image face centered onto your plexi. So when you flip it over, now you can. And so you want to press down fairly hard so that ink can go in those crevices of your etching. And then I'm going to freehand all the details. So I'm just marking some of the landmark places where I want to get detail. This will create space for us to put our black fabric underneath to see actually what our image looks like. And so as you can see, I'm just doing hatch marks. And the spacing of those hatch marks will determine the depth of those areas. So now you can see with my dry point etching, with my layered details, you can see it in the light, how it will look with ink information. So I'm using the Kua ink to roll out my print. So I'm going to mix it. I'm going to create a line of ink. And now with my brayer, I'm going to roll out my ink. So I'm looking for my ink to be consistent and the same thickness. Okay, so now I'm going to use the card, scraping up the ink. And now I'm going to begin to scrape it onto my print. And make sure that all the image is covered with ink. I'm going to start wiping my plate. So first I'm going to use the tarlatan or the wiping fabric. You're just going to start to wipe it off. And so you can see the ink is coming with it. And then I'm going to switch to the telephone pages to get off details. The telephone book pages are perfect because they absorb oil. So with the details, you can see the ink holds on to more the areas where I applied a lot of pressure, because that's where I want a lot of depth in my image. So you can tell I scratched very light right there. And you can tell that I scratched extremely deep right there. All right, so now that our paper has soaked, now we're going to blot the paper. So I'm going to hold it by one corner, let the water wring out. And now I'm going to transfer it to this blotter paper. I'm going to use the rollout and try to get the excess water off. All right, so now we're going to apply the paper over the print. Apply a little bit of pressure so the ink can stick to the paper. Oh. My name is Nicholas Muhammad, and this was my tutorial on dry point etching.